everyone, Guy with a Face here in my year later update and review. I just had a couple people post on my channel that they were worried about me and wanted to hear an update about me, and I actually feel terrible about that. I did actually leave it on a bad note, and I didn't give you as much information as I probably should have. So I'm going to organize this video into two sections here. The first thing is going to be medication, specifically the Trintillex, and there's also one other new thing that I'm on, and I'll touch on that in a second, and the personal stuff at last, because I totally appreciate the concern that people showed me on my comment section, and I want to make sure that they know that I am okay. First and foremost, I am okay. Actually, I'm great. Again, a different backdrop in the background. So, I'll touch on that. First and foremost, I'm on Trintillex 20 milligrams right now. We upped it when I left work just to make sure that we had to explore that option 100%. I was still experiencing issues, so what happened is I got referred to a comorbid specialist. I went to the comorbid specialist 3 months later, and he asked me a multitude of questions, put me through a multitude of surveys, and the thing that he said is that you seem kind of ADD, and I'm like, oh, well, my brother has ADD, so it's not out of the realm of plausibility. And he said, okay, well, why don't we do a couple things to make sure that, we're exploring this as a possibility. So what he got me to do was fill in what are called symbol substitution tests, and that's where a symbol is assigned to a number, and there's numbers from 1 to 9, and on the bottom there's the symbol, and you replace the blank space underneath it with the number that it belongs to. And what he does is he times me to see how long it takes me. And so the symbol substitution test, I was a couple standard deviations beneath where I should be. And on the what's called a trail making test, the trail making test is there are little circles. The circles have a number in them. And what you have to do is you actually have to draw a line between a number and a letter. So I started with 1, I had to go to A, then went to 2 and had to go to B, then went to 3 and had to go to C, so forth and so on. Finally, he got my mom to actually fill out a survey based on my childhood about what I was like as a child and some of the things that I experienced. And the conclusion that he came to is that, yes, you're ADD. You're not ADHD. You do not have hyperactivity, which is why you were not diagnosed with it sooner. You have what's called sluggish cognitive tempo, which affects your reward pathway and your working memory. So what we did is we actually started me on a new medication called Vyvance. And the Vyvance has been a life changer. So in my previous videos, I've said, oh, I'm doing better. I think I'm doing okay. I think it's okay. It's causing me some sleep issues. It's causing me some sexual dysfunction issues. No, the Vyvance is different. I am okay, and I am doing better, and I am absolutely certain about that. And right now, I do think it's a combination of the meds that has caused this to happen. Right now, I'm not on any sleeping meds at all. As it turns out, prescribing the Vyvance to me actually helped out with my anxiety issues and my sleep issues, which is super, paradoxical, right? Because the Vyvance is actually a stimulant. Paradoxical? It's a paradox. So it's a stimulant, and normally what it does is it makes people work faster, and there's this huge market for universities and colleges to get that because it's considered a study drug. One of the first things that my doctor said is that stigma behind the use of the medication for people who are trying to work harder or faster or that sort of thing really hurts the people that actually do need the medication, like you, right? You are not taking this to get high. You are not taking this to work harder. You're doing this to return the dopamine levels in your brain to the same level as a normal person. So that really stuck out to me The specialist was a great doctor. We worked together for, oh goodness, I think 4 months. And what we did is we started me on a low dose. In a month, we reevaluate, redo the test, titrate it again. And we repeated that about, I think, 4 times before we finally settled on a dose of Vyvance, 50 milligrams, and the Trintillex, 20 milligrams. And the difference in my daily life has been astounding. It's been, I'm not, when I wake up in the morning, I don't lie in bed and go, this again, right? There are things that I legitimately want to do. Getting up and taking a shower, I don't have to motivate myself to do that. That's just something I gotta do along the way. The work that I'm doing is really rewarding, right? I've been programming the best code I think I've probably ever programmed in my life, and I'm a programmer. A lot of things fell into place. And now my brother has ADD as well, but he's got ADHD, so he had the hyperactivity symptoms as well. So I didn't really get noticed until later on in life because compared to my brother, I was just fine to them. I mean, he was their point of reference because he was my older brother. But, now I know, and now I'm taking the steps. And the Vyvance isn't like this solution 100%, right? It lasts for 12 hours, and it helps me get through the day and do the things that I need to do. I take it early in the morning, well, when I wake up, and it lasts 12 hours, and what that lets me do is in that 12 hours, focus on the things that I want to do. And when I say want to do, I mean I want to work, I want to clean, I want to get out of the house and I don't want to say go shopping. I actually hate shopping, but like talk to people and do things and, just be human. I considered myself a homebody before, and I don't really think I am anymore. I like going out to the bar and having a pint or two. And when somebody talks to me, I return that conversation. And, I did this before, but this is something that I think is, I don't want to say healthy because going out to the bar is not healthy, but the desire to interact with other people and get out of the house is. So that is different. The Trintillex itself, because I was on Trintillex 20 milligrams and then I started the Vyvance, I am now in a position where I am not 100% certain if I need it anymore. The sexual side effects still exist, and I need to evaluate if going to a lower dose would be beneficial or even quitting it would be. I am going to talk to my doctor about switching to 10 milligrams and seeing what happens, right? Because if I can be on fewer drugs, I would like to be on fewer drugs. But I also don't want to fuck up what I have now. That's important. So it's a really tricky balance. And on one hand, I'm doing a whole lot better. And on the other hand, I'm not sure I need to be on the 2 drugs or not. But the doctors at the end of the day are going to be the ones that tell me that, not me. All I can do is relay my suspicions, what I believe. The doctors that I have had have been great, so I trust their judgment, and I will follow it. If my doctor tells me that I need to stay on the Trintillex to keep this newfound success, then I will, 100%. So that's the new drug interaction mix results, that sort of thing. If I do quit the Trintillex, I'll make an update video to let you guys know what the process is like. Quitting antidepressants can be kind of a interesting experience. Anybody who's ever done it will know that it's very strange what it can do to your body. If you're ever curious about it, just Google brain zaps, and it's impossible to describe, but brain zaps are still a pretty good description of what it is, because it's not particularly painful, but it really isn't pleasant either. So I am a little bit worried about that. And that's a problem that I would like to avoid. So just like everything that I've done, you talk to your doctor and find one that you connect with and that you click with, and that you'll follow their judgment because you believe in their judgment. And I do believe in the judgment of my doctors. And although it did take me a long time to get to the point where I am now, I am here. And that's because I put in the work. I saw the doctors. And when my doctor didn't know, he sent me to a specialist. And the specialist himself went through an exhaustive series of tests to figure out that I was ADD. And in retrospect, it's not a surprise, but it's not something that I would have gone into the doctor's office and mentioned. Because why would I? I saw my brother, he's ADD, and I'm not like him. But as it turns out, ADD mimics a lot of things. And now I know. So that's where I am medication-wise. My side effects from the Trintillex, I complained about the sexual dysfunction and the sleeping. Sexual dysfunction is still there. I'm still, libido-wise, not great. The sleeping, I'm not on any sleeping drugs anymore. The Vyvance helped me set up a circadian rhythm and sleep hygiene that makes sense to me. And I don't force myself to fall asleep. And sometimes I will wake up in the middle of the night at like 2 or 3, and I'll be like, oh, well, I guess I'm up now. But these are occasional experiences. They're not like my day-to-day, because that used to be every single day with me. The insomnia got to me, and it caused me to perform worse. I was not a put-together person at all, and I think it was starting to show. Even in my videos, when I'm going back and looking at them now, I can tell that I wasn't articulate and as put together as I should be. I'm not using a script or anything for these videos, so I went back and I watched the other videos, and I say and ah and and I think a lot. And that's because it took me a lot of time to put these things that are ideas into my mind into a cognitive sentence that makes sense to the viewers themselves. And I'm having a much easier time doing this now, and I'm not sure if that will come across to the people that are viewing it or not. I'll let you guys be the judge. But to me, that's how it feels. Personal-wise, so different backdrop again. Anybody that was viewing my video saw the seizure video. I went back and watched that video, and oh my god, these LEDs were annoying. Why did nobody call me out on that? Holy moly. But yes, different backdrop again. So what happened was I moved into my apartment at Church Street, and I went on numerous dates, and I was like, you know, this is fun and stuff, but maybe if I'm taking time off work and I'm, you know, not doing well personally, I probably shouldn't be going out with anyone. So I actively said, I'm not looking for dates anymore. I'm done. Wouldn't you know it, a couple of weeks later, I went to a games night. And I have a games night at my friend's house once a month. It's pretty clockwork. But I met a guy, and we sort of hit it off. We were joking the whole night, and he offered to give me a ride home. And on the way home, I talked to him, and I said, you know, you're in the same position that I am. We're both on disability and off work. Knowing that we're both kind of a little bit of a mess right now, do you want to go on a date anyways, just to see what happens? At least we have a similar situation that we're in, and we can talk to each other about it. And he's like, yeah, that sounds great to me. And there was mutual attraction right from the beginning. And so the beginning of the relationship, we both worked on our issues. And I was off work for a certain amount of time, and he was off work for a certain amount of time. He went back to work, and he is doing fantastic now. I decided to, rather than go back to the same job that I was at, that I didn't think that I was doing that well at, to look for a different job. And I actually got a message from not a recruiter, but like a director of this company. And what he said was like, by the way, your resume looks really good. I was passively looking at LinkedIn, and you look like a good match for the company. And I took a look at the common connections, and the first person that ever gave me a promotion from customer service to a actual legitimate programming job was actually a common connection. As it turned out, this same guy actually hired my teacher. So I called him up and I said, hey, yeah, by the way, you know my teacher. My teacher is sort of the guy that directed me how to do all the stuff that I know how to do, right? So when it comes to my skill set and that sort of stuff, you can talk to him and sort of verify what I'm saying and see if I'm a good match for the company. And so he talked to my teacher. He called me back again. I was hired on the spot. I actually didn't even go in for an interview. So I've been working at this company. It's a consultant company. And for my personality, it's great, right? Because I don't really particularly love routine or anything like that. What happens is I get put on assignments, and the assignments can last, from 2 months to 6 months to 8 months, whatever it is. And these assignments will always be changing, and the skill sets that I need going into them will always be changing too. And in the downtime between my assignments, they give me the time that I need to update my skills and learn something new. That way I can take it into the assignment. There's usually a planning stage of the assignment that lasts a month where they need to know the skills. Or they have an idea of the skills that they need for the project. And if they believe that I'm capable of learning it, they'll say, by the way, take this course, get the cert, and then we're going to assign you to the project. And I have been excelling at it. I love the job. And that's where I am right now. So went on a date with a guy. We were in the same situation. We both went back to work. We continued to go out because it was working. We clearly were a positive influence on each other. And eventually I was like, screw it. Why are we not living together right now, right? Because we had been going out for, I guess, 6 to 8 months at the time. And we moved in. And it's been great. My rent is cheaper out here. I bought a car. We recently bought a trailer together, and we're working on planning a solar array for it. And again, Vyvance makes this stuff super interesting to me, and my reward pathway is back in the proper place so I can do the proper planning and research that I need to do. And I've got to say that my life is good. And just as like a final thing to point out here is, as somebody who is mentally ill, I spent a lot of time talking about it to the right people. When I was down and out, especially at the beginning of the videos that I was making, I made sure that I was documenting my feelings and going to the people that it was important to share them with. And at the time, these were my doctors and my friends. And it was a long and frustrating experience to finally get diagnosed with the ADD. And it's not a be-all, end-all solution. There are other things that I have to do to work on myself. But it's been something that I have worked towards, right? And sometimes it's okay to say I need help, right? But you do need to take responsibility for your own health, even though it's frustrating and awful and just the worst experience at times. And I did, and I got sent to the specialist, and I went through tests, and I went through titration, and I went through meds, and I've gone through just the gamut of things. But in addition to expressing when you're down, I think it's important to express gratitude when you're up as well. And I say this hypocritically because I haven't actually uploaded a video to my channel in a while. And I am grateful where I am. I'm very happy. And things have changed for the better. And I do believe that the drugs helped, right? I'm not sure if Trintillex was or is the right drug for me, uh, in like a big picture sense, but it did get me out of the chair, right? And I should say, get me out of the bed and get me into the office and get me into the other office and get me into doing the other tests, right? Whereas I don't think I could have done it without that. I've tried other antidepressants than that, and they didn't have the same effect. But, you know, the Trintillex did jumpstart my ability to take care of myself. And now that I'm on the Vyvance as well, you know, I'm in a good place. And I think it's important to say that and express that and tell people. And that this is my, yes, I'm in a good place right now. And I'm sorry about making my followers worry, because certainly not my intention or anything like that. And it's been kind of a roller coaster the last couple of years for me. But you know, I am doing better. And if I need to make updates, like I said, quitting the Trintillex or reducing the dosage or anything like that, I'm going to keep you guys updated and let you guys know, because I think it's important, and I've kind of dropped the ball on that one. But I appreciate the concern shown to me, and the positive comments on my video. They've been, you know, it's really heartwarming to know that somebody 4 months later, or 3 months ago, comments on my video and says, by the way, are you doing okay? You haven't uploaded in a while. And that's like, oh wow, people were actually watching me talk. And that is both interesting and heartwarming to me. And thank you for that. And I hope this video alleviates your concerns. Of course, people will have more questions about the diagnosis and the other meds and that sort of thing. And of course, I always ask them. I will do a better job at monitoring my channel and seeing what is going on. With that, I'm going to sign off. And thank you for showing concern, and let me know.